Second hour, the run home with Joel and Michelle today. Thanks to Hyundai, the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai, stylish and powerful. You can have your say. The Cyclone Tools call line 1300 01 1170. The right tool for the job. Now, if you missed the first hour, you know the drill. Podcast waiting for you. We're on Spotify and Apple, so you can do that as you please over the weekend. Maybe you're listening to the podcast as we speak. But time to do this. Another week in league.
On the run home, it's the week in league. Hyundai Tucson redefines what a family SUV can be. Test drive the all-new Tucson Hybrid at a Hyundai showroom today.
Tell you what, Funky Brooks, is that your tune, Brooks man, is it?
Oh, it wasn't mine. It was, look, shout out to Tommy down in our imaging department who makes all the stingers, the stingers and all the openers. He came up with that one. I thought it'd be a good touch.
Beautiful. Nice touch. Nice touch. Let's get into this week in league. Kevy Walters skips the Broncos awards night, which you can understand, I suppose.
Yeah, no hard feelings there. It'd be a tough one to go back to face. I'm sure he would have had all these phone calls and, you know, caught up with who he wanted to catch up with. Tough going.
I
don't hold anything against him for not doing.
Oh,
not showing up.
No, of course not. But in saying that, I could absolutely understand him also going, that's the kind of bloke Kevy is. But I do understand, obviously. But when you think about it, so their coaching staff included Johnny Cartwright, who's gone. Mm-hmm. It included Lee Breeze. He's gone. So who was there? That's the question. They held their annual awards night on Thursday with Paddy Carrigan winning the prestigious Paul Morgan Medal as the club's Player of the Year. It had been held by an absolute mortgage by Payne Haas in recent years. The club officials insist there's no bad blood, but Walter's absence on Thursday night showed he's not yet ready to return and face the players. You know what? I would believe that. He's such a good bloke.
I hope they find a way to bring him back. Just not make a big statement, just infiltrate the system again because he's such a big part of the club's history. And I'm sure they will. It's an iconic club. He's been an important player, part of their history. They'll find a way. They'll
find a way, Michelle. Paddy Welsh said on the breakfast show this morning up there in Queensland, he said, air of sadness at the gala event due to Walter's sacking.
Well, I guess it's dependent on, it's sort of who you were at the gala event. Yeah.
Tell me this, Shell.
I think the players move on pretty quickly.
The Gypsy, is somewhat residing in Queensland now.
Mm-hmm.
How do the Queensland public, I know there was a bit of a noise from the old players around, why would you get the New South Wales coach to coach a Queensland team?
I have to say that was the only noise that I heard.
Most of the fans are wrapped,
were excited. I wouldn't say, and I wouldn't put it in the, a derogatory term that, thank God he's gone.
No, not a Kevy, but more so that, how do we get this bloke?
Maguire.
Yeah,
I think they are. Look, okay. I don't know how to be more diplomatic. The general consensus in the pubs that I've been to, and talking to the fans, it's been they need to be pulled into line. The younger players are, been running the joint, and it's a bit crazy. They're talented, no doubt, but we need someone who can bring the best out in them. And wow, Madge. Hard-ass Madge.
Oh, yeah. Well, mate, I'll tell you what, he'll knock it out of him.
I'm excited for what Madge is able to do with those guys because he'll find a way. I've talked about this a little bit in the early stages of him becoming the New South Wales coach. I know as soon as he got that gig, he hit the ground running. He was thinking ahead about, the Indigenous players that he'll have in the New South Wales side, getting the likes of Chock Mundine to come in and talk and just a lot of forward thinking, just making an inclusive environment, but also setting the standards from the get-go, from the very start. And I'm sure that's what he'll be doing come November 1 or whatever their pre-season starts. There'll be some hard conversations and it'll be a case of you're either in or you're out. I don't care who you are.
So do we know his crew yet? Is he settled?
Well, Trent Barrett, he
was already committed.
He's already committed.
Yep.
And he hasn't had a lot to do with Trent Barrett. Didn't know a lot about Trent's history other than the obvious.
Yep.
Ben Teo, he has got a fantastic relationship with.
Of course.
He's known Ben since Ben was 14, so he's actually quite excited about that. I actually asked Madge about that side of things. And obviously he had the choice, I guess, to, go with the Trent Barrett situation or maybe move him on to come to, some arrangement. But as far as I know, Madge is happy to roll the sleeves up and move on forward.
Okay, there you go. Sydney Roosters coach Trent Robinson. Now, I heard this last night with Sports Day. Danny Wadler broke the news. Coach Trent Robinson recovering after freak gas bottle accident. I actually texted him and he said, mate, we're at home, we're on the mend, it's all good. So he and Sandra are on the mend, they're okay. But Danny Wadler had this to say about Trent Robinson on Sports Day last night.
Roosters coach Trent Robinson and his wife Sandra had to be airlifted off a farm owned by John Quayle and Nick Politis after a gas bottle explosion.
Wow.
Fortunately, they're okay. It's quite a scary situation. When the ambulances arrived, they had to be doused with water,
Wow.
Cold water. But I believe he was in hospital for 2 nights because of when there's a gas situation, people's lungs have to be checked. His wife was released after 1 night, but fortunately they're back home and okay. Burns to their arms. So just quite a serious situation.
Wow.
His text through Michelle saying, we're all good, we're on the mend. But that's the kind of person he's. He'd be...
Got to be careful, and this is being extremely serious. It's not the first time we've heard of someone being injured with those cylinder gas bottles.
No.
We had Hopawate with the barbecue earlier this year. Yeah, so take that one on board, guys. You think you're just having a nice, friendly little night, but it can be quite a dangerous situation.
Absolutely. Now, Parramatta have granted, as we've said before, Clint Gutherson permission to negotiate with rival clubs. Now, to this point, just to clarify, they have negotiated for him for the year following. So not yet
next year.
Not yet for 2025.
No.
But that only gives you
It's
a 2
bound
or
to
3
come
week.
up, though.
Yeah, it only gives you a 2 or 3 week window to take that advantage. So it's interesting. Therefore, the fact that they're doing this 2 or 3 weeks out, Eels coach Jason Riles and the general manager Mark O'Neill met with Gutherson and his agent Sammy Ayub on Thursday morning to discuss the veteran's future at the club. The Dragons, of course, have expressed their interest. I don't know why they keep making their intentions so public, but they seem to be attached to every player who's of any kind of quality on the market. I think they've just got to go quiet, the Dragons. So the question is, folks, let's go around the table here. Where does Gutho end up? Like your gut feel. And does anyone here think that he won't be elsewhere next year? Does anyone think he's at Parramatta next year?
I
Tourist?
think he's played his last game for the Eels.
I agree.
That's how I feel.
Tourist, what do you think?
I think there's a chance. I'm not saying it's the biggest chance, but absolutely there's a chance, purely because he is the heart and soul of that team that everyone keeps saying. There's always a chance that the money that he maybe wants or they want to give him is enough, and he goes, yeah, one club player, legend of the club. I'll take the pay cut if that's so be it, and I stay a one club man. I think it's possible.
Okay. Now, just before I go to Brooksy for his view on this, they have signed Isaiah Iongi. Now, he's the young Panther fullback who's played 1 first-grade game. But what about the numbers? So 1 first-grade game, 8 tackle busts, 37 receipts of the ball. So he was running to it. Don't worry about that. He took it on. He missed 0 tackles, and he ran for 256 metres. So, I mean, he's only had the 1 game, but he was on the bench for the Dolphins, never got on for that game. But only the 1 game, but it's a pretty handy game. Brooks, man, how do you see it all playing out?
All right, I just had a quick look at the November 1 players that are coming off contract for Manly. Daly Cherry Evans is the biggest name there. You've got Jake Arthur, Ethan Bullimore, Dean Madison, Aaron Schopp, Toff Sipley, Tommy Talau, and some other names. I feel, as a former Manly player, he could definitely go back to Manly.
Yep.
You've got the Tommy Turbo situation where you might want to put him in the centres. You've got a fullback, Clint Gutherson. Can I say the H word? Can I say the H word?
Yeah.
Hybrid.
Yeah, I love
There's
the
the
hybrid.
option there, right?
But who makes way?
So Cherry's contract, where would that be? In what vicinity would it be?
Are you talking
1.
dollar value, or are you talking?
Is it over 1?
He's not
Oh,
going
yeah,
anywhere.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's say he re-ups. He's got a chance of winning a premiership. He might take a bit of a cut to allow Clint to come to the club under, decent dollars, right? You've got the Tommy Turbo situation where he's willing to take less for his contract, but can't at the moment.
Yep.
So do you think there might be a bit of a play here that Manly might send a player to
Hang on.
Parramatta?
Hang on. Please tell me you're saying this. Please
Hang
tell
on,
me.
I've got a few
confused.
dominoes here, right?
No.
Nah.
No,
I've got a
let's-
few dominoes.
not happening.
Let's start a rumour.
Let-
Let's start a rumour,
Yeah.
and I hope you go down this path.
Yeah.
Where Tommy Turbo offered to take less, but he can't.
Yes.
Daly Cherry Evans re-signs for less, and he says, "Hey Tommy,
Yeah.
every Saturday we're going to meet down the park, bro, and you'll give me an envelope full of money. I'll meet you halfway.
I'm just.
Corso, 9 o'clock.
I'm just.
Bring Harry with you."
I'm just going back
So-
to Daly Cherry Evans taking a pay cut for Clint Gutherson.
Yeah.
No. This would be the dominoes.
Hang on, stop. Before you go any
re-sign-
further, can I just ask you this one question? Do you? I personally would think Gutho as a utility, but don't talk about money, don't talk about moving. His ego's not going to let him do that.
He's 1 to 13 only.
Sorry.
Yeah, so this is what I'm proposing. Cherry Evans signs, let's say, first week of November.
Yep.
2-year, 3-year deal, but on much less money. And he's obviously going to have a job at the club as an ambassador or media even. He's a good talker, right?
Yep.
So he'll recoup that money. Tommy, in a few years, whenever that opens up, will get on less money. Gutho will come to the club.
With unicorns and rainbows.
They'll send another player over, and they might even have, I don't know, a hatchet contract, maybe.
Ratchet. It's not a hatchet.
It's not a hatchet. It's a hatchet. It's a hatchet.
It's a hatchet job.
Is it Friday?
It's a hatchet job.
I need a wine.
No, a ratchet
This has done my head in.
contract where it will, all three players will fit in, and it will enable them to be able to build around these guys and give DCE a chance of winning another premiership at Manly and bring back the local junior Clint Gutherson at the same time.
And that's the end of the story.
What do you think?
No,
what do you think?
Mate, we all get to present our case. and you know what? We came for you. We came for you. You can come for us, right?
Yeah,
so
that's all right.
I'm locked in my view. I've just landed on what I think's going to happen, right? It's crystal ball stuff.
Yep.
No, Michelle, you go.
No. Well, guys, I haven't really decided, but all I know is that there's
It's a bit of fun. Just go for it.
whole lot of Parramatta fans out there that are fuming, and he's a captain. I think he probably deserved a little bit more respect than this, than going to market the way. And that, again, speaks about culture. It wouldn't happen at the Melbourne Storm. It wouldn't happen at the bigger clubs. I just feel like my personal perfect scenario for him, because he's had a few injuries, he's had a bit of a tough year, some maybe issues with knees and things.
Yep.
Perhaps maybe Gutho, Adam, one of our callers, has actually back to the Eagles as 14, because I love the whole fairy tale finish there as well. I don't know.
Him playing 14's fairy tale. He ain't playing 14.
But I'd love to. I think that would be a realistic thing. But in terms of what I'm saying, is it something he wouldn't do? Again, his ego. He
So
feels like he's got
give us
more
a team.
Look,
Come on.
Honestly, I reckon you're right. I reckon he'll end up at Manly, but I just don't know in what situation.
Wow, you'd have to let
He'll be
play one
bobbing
of
up
those
in the
outside
sea
backs, I reckon.
somewhere.
Yeah, it's good. That's got to
I
be
can't see him at the
Yeah.
Roosters. We've got some text messages, people saying he'll end up in the centres at the Roosters.
No. You know what? There's that's got legs. A little swapsy deal with a Ruben Garrick or a Tommy Talau or a Lee Hopewadi, or it's got legs. Tourist, would you like to go or me?
Ruben Garrick looked
No, you go. I think I'm delving back into he stays at the Eels with all these crazy ideas. I think he just stays where he
All
goes.
right, hear me out, folks.
Yes,
Okay.
here we go.
The Doyen comes down to Sydney town, back to South.
Right.
And he pulls aside Latrell Mitchell and he says, mate, we need to get back to winning comps. Do you want to win a comp with me? You need to do
What does
one thing
Latrell
for me.
say?
And he said, yes, please, Wayne.
Yes, please.
He says, mate, can you go 1 year in the centres with me? Maybe a bit of a hybrid, but imagine if I bring
The
Gutho
H
to the
words
team.
definitely said.
Yep. Wayne would say hybrid, right? Which he's never done in his 400-year career. But he may do it this year. And he says, you go to the centres for me, just for a part. We get Gutho at the back. We've got Jackie White in there. We are poised to
How's
pounce.
South's going to afford Gutho?
What size ring are you?
Because Parramatta's paying some of it.
But for what? So hang on.
Hey.
We're talking for next year or the year after? Next
No,
year.
I'm saying next year.
Yeah, next year.
right, okay.
I'm going south. I'm going left field.
Wow, okay.
South. Latrell
Did not
go to
even-
full,
did
go to
not
centre,
even think
and
about
Gutho
that.
go there. But the tourists are going to have the final say.
The Roosters are going to sign him.
Oh yeah, they could.
We've heard a lot about treasure chest.
Yeah.
There is a treasure chest of money
Yep.
that Uncle Nick has ready now that Suolii's gone, now that Joey Manu's
Oh,
gone.
there's obviously plenty of money to
Kiri,
spend.
Jared Weir-Hargraves.
Everyone's gone from
Yep.
there.
That's a war
Who's got
chest if
money to
ever
spend?
I've seen.
Who's
Yeah.
got money to spend? It's always the Sydney Roosters, and that's where, if he doesn't end up at the Eels, stay at the Eels, he's staying with the Roosters.
Can I just say this, right? Just on.
I reckon we'll be replaying that at some stage.
Yeah, that's
The more
that's
I
a big
think about
chance.
it, the more I think about it.
That's a big chance. That was the first on my list, but now I'm just going the other way. One last thing before we break, and I often think about this. So, when you release a player,
The Dragons didn't even get a mention then.
no, because they keep mentioning themselves.
Right.
As soon as they stop mentioning themselves, I just want to see the Dragons for once go, holy dooly, did you hear that Gutherson signed for the Dragons? And we didn't know.
Yeah.
They have to get one of those
Sneak
for
job.
me. A sneak job, but we just hear everything. One thing I want to say is release players.
Right.
So Parramatta, and this is not just Parramatta, this is any club who releases a player. They would like to release Clint Gutherson, because he's on 950,000.
Yep.
Right. So you see this all the time where a club releases a player, probably because they're getting paid too much.
And a new coach coming in that wants to free some
dosh
dollaroonies. Yeah.
Yes, dollaroonies up. Okay. So Clint Gutherson, say he leaves for 950, a club signs him for 650, and so therefore Para's chipping in 300.
I think so. Yep.
Yep. So if you then said to Para, would you pay 650 for Gutherson? What would be the answer?
I'd consider it.
Well, because you're essentially already doing that.
Yeah.
You're already doing it. You're paying 300 not to have him.
Yeah.
So therefore, the 650's there no matter what you do.
Yeah.
He's valued at 650 no matter what you
work
do.
in a bank.
I did you used to work in a bank?
Finances.
Anyway, there you go. 1300 01 1170. Can we keep going on, or we better break? Folks, there's a bit more rugby league news floating around. Big blow for the Kiwis. Jerome Hughes is out. We know that. He's been troubled by that neck injury, so he was out. Shaun Johnson returns to the Kiwis, and he spoke about the return on the Play on Sports show. Here's what he had to say.
If things were to happen, I did say I would never say no to the opportunity to represent our country again and wear that jersey. It's a special environment to be a part of, and throughout my whole career, I've always held it as the absolute pinnacle. It's been the absolute pinnacle of what we've been able to do, what I've been able to do. So, yeah, here I am, just thinking I was sailing off into the sunset. Just enjoying my time, getting ready to go to the States, actually, guys. I just filled in the Esther.
Oh, they were paying you big money to be over there too now.
I just had a little bit of work going on over there with the Warriors, and I was really excited for that trip. But when Stace calls, you cannot say no to the person that you hold in the utmost, I guess, the highest regard, in my eyes, of respect, and someone I've always looked up to.
Tell you what, he's a class act.
Yeah, he is.
Gee,
But imagine being the wife. All excited. You've packed your bags and you're off, and he's finally yours, and you're going to have some downtime. And it's, guess what? Sorry, I'm off again.
Imagine, yeah, exactly.
Poor wife.
Imagine
poor
he says,
children.
excuse me, love. Where are those
Excuse
boots?
me, love. I threw them out.
And she goes, you hung them up, remember? Oh, what do you need those for? I reckon.
Hey, Shug, he's got your Audible subscription. He's definitely been listening to some Dale Carnegie there. He wanted a job at the Warriors in terms of helping the halves out. Stacey Jones, where's he at the moment? Assistant coach, Warriors. This is such a good, nice move to be like, hey, I'll come on
I'll continue
January
to be the
1
good
and I'll
guy.
take the boys around, you know, and he'll basically walk into a job a la Kramer. Like, he's done that. He's done the best thing he can do for his career going forward, and also help out the team that's trying to go back-to-back in the Pac Championships.
Yep, you can catch more flies with honey. Lots of love. I love that. That's Dale Carnegie, one of his. You can catch more flies with vinegar or honey too. 1300 01 1170 is the way to have your say. Or text 0457 736 736. And just in other news really quickly, Liam Martin's out of the Kangaroo squad. Hudson Young comes into the side. So well done to Hudson Young.
Working hard for that too.
Working very, very hard for that. It's the run home with Joel and Michelle. Lots of news still to come. Have your say on the Cyclone Tools call line 1300 01 1170. The right tool for the job.